Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
And 12. I know you're going to get Mafia excited here. Hot and bothered.
You got to put Aaron Rodgers here and the Jets at 11. I would put him higher, but again, he barely played football last season. They've addressed their offensive line. It's not going to be great. The depth at wide receiver is a problem for me. Defense, perhaps the best in the National Football League. If Rodgers plays 14 games, they're probably going to win that division over the Bills.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Back right here, SportsGrid Live on this Saturday. I'm Kevin Walsh. It is Game Time Decisions. Matt Peralt joins us here. Catch them all across the network. In-game live, of course. Bostonian versus the book. Matt, appreciate you joining us here early morning out west.
Happy Saturday. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting day. Went to Power Slap last night. So I saw big guys slap each other for a couple of hours. But UFC 303 is here too. So it was interesting.
How was the Power Slap?
I mean, okay. I think they are very strategic where they put their microphones so it sounds better on TV than it does in person. So it's not like this overwhelming crack that you hear like it's on a boxing glove. You don't have the leather of a 4-ounce UFC glove, an MMA glove type of situation. But you know, it is what it is. It's an interesting experience to watch. Paige VanZant won her first fight. A 419-pound guy won the super heavyweight belt. So it is what it is. It was a fun night.
All right, there we go. A little power slap there, man. That's fascinating. I haven't seen. I of course I know what power slap is. I've never actually sat down and taken the time to watch some power slap. I have watched plenty of UFC, and I, like many, had my interest in the sport multiplied exponentially during the McGregor takeoff. And Matt, despite his decline, he does remain the biggest name in the sport. Was supposed to headline tonight's card. Ultimately, for the first time in his career, backed out due to injury. What's your read on the entire situation?
It's awful. I mean, it's really unfortunate for everyone. The heat of this card is completely off. The interest in this card is completely diminished. They've tried their hardest to make this card somewhat palatable for fans who have paid all the money to come to Vegas for International Fight Week. But, I mean, the co-main event went from a 145 fight to a 155 fight with Brian Ortega not being able to make weight. So it's been cursed from the start. It's just one of those cards I think the UFC wants to get done and then move on. But, you know, will we see Conor fight ever again? I don't know. He's talking about the fact that he's, you know, so emotionally sick that he can't fight and he wasn't going to fight injured anymore. And the stuff that's going on with Khabib and him going back and forth on social with Khabib and his camp and what's going on over there and you know, with the government busting him. And it's a really weird time in the UFC. I mean, I think that's why the power slap's getting so much love and promotion because they want to kind of deflect a little bit as to what's going on. But it's a crossroads for sure for the company as to what do they do in the wake of Conor's career, because it's pretty much over. I don't think Conor fights ever again in the UFC.
It's so fascinating, Matt, and I can't necessarily, challenge that idea, probably because I think there's a part of me that wants that to be true. I don't hide it. I'm a massive Conor McGregor fan. It is always a big event when he fights in the Walsh household. And one thing that's very different about when you are a big fan of a fighter compared to a Celtic fan, a LeBron fan, is when LeBron misses a layup, nobody punches him in the face. It's a little more difficult to watch a favorite of yours actually get beat up, right? Which has happened to Conor, with the broken leg with Poirier, and everybody lost to Khabib. So while I do think there's credence to it, the one thing I do not think McGregor has ever lied about, Matt, is how much he truly does love fighting, because he could have retired so long ago and continuously pushed the envelope. I wonder if at minimum he is desperate for a swan song. What very well could have been the Cerrone fight, but then immediately was parlayed into a lot more than that. I wonder if there is a desire from McGregor to walk out of the fight game on significantly better terms than what he presently would be walking out on.
Look, I think there's a lot to that. I think Conor McGregor knows that the lasting image of him is on a stretcher leaving the octagon. That's not the image you want when you're a two-time, two-division first guy to go from a two-division champ situation. Yeah. So, he invented the champ situation with the UFC. So I think there's a lot of truth to that. But this is a guy who made $600 million by selling his stake in Proper 12. This is a guy who's been one of the most decorated and paid fighters in the history of the company. So they have taken, and then the boxing fight with Mayweather and everything else, all the money he has made. It's just very difficult for me to understand a guy who came from nothing, who built himself up, who is now being asked to go in the gym and train and go get his face caved in by a guy like Michael Chandler or somebody else when he doesn't have to do that anymore. It's really difficult, I think, to motivate yourself. And you're right. I think he loves to fight, but I think he loves to party. I think he loves the lifestyle. I think he loves the spotlight. He wants to be relevant. And I think fighting makes him relevant. So I think that's why he wants to fight versus fighting, which is a real scary thing because the guy he's normally going to fight is hungrier than he is. And I go back to the Max Holloway fight in Boston for Conor. That's the first time I saw him fight. So I've seen Conor fight all the way through the 145, the 155, and now whatever weight class he's going to fight at in the future. But he's incredible. He's an incredible athlete, an incredible personality, the biggest star this sport has ever seen. But it is time, I think, for the company and MMA fans, frankly, to move on and go, okay, the past is the past. Let's appreciate who Conor is, but you're holding up a lot of people's careers like Michael Chandler by waiting for Conor to get into the octagon again.
And the reality is, and this is kind of even McGregor's biggest hater, someone like Chandler made the right decision waiting it out. It didn't work out. You can't pass up the fight. McGregor still gets called out on these cards on occasion. And for a long time, the idea was, it's a super easy fight. And then Chad Mendes would get his head caved in. Now the idea it's an easy fight has more gravity. But it's never about that. It's not about it being easy because the sport isn't easy. It's about the risk is worth it. If I fight McGregor, it is the biggest fight imaginable. Michael Chandler's name has stayed around a lot longer because he was supposed to fight McGregor. And, it's a great point you bring up, Matt. I think it's a super interesting conversation because, this company eventually had to kind of bend the knee is maybe strong, but bite the bullet and bring John Jones back. Only for John Jones then to end up getting injured. So you're right. They throw this card together tonight with, Pereira and Yuri. They need a superstar performance tonight in that main event. And I'm sure both guys are going to really hope that they can deliver it.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of skepticism going into the main event. Pereira was in Australia. It's why the number is where the number is. He should be a bigger favorite than he is tonight. And I have him by knockout tonight. I got it at plus 110 last night to knock out Prochazka tonight. And we've seen this fight before. This is my problem. We've seen this fight already. I'm annoyed with this because I don't think this is a real. Prochazka could beat him, okay? And then we have a trilogy fight, and the company's excited about that. But I just don't believe that Pereira is going to get beaten in the light heavyweight division anytime soon. And whether he's been training heavily or not, he still is the most lethal striker in the division. So I think it's a knockout there. I think it's going to be Ortega at 155 instead of 45 is a different fight to me. I think Lopez wins that fight tonight. It's unfortunate because I don't think fight fans, the diehards, like this card. I mean, the Ian Gary and Michael Page fight's going to be phenomenal. That's a great fight. There's just not a lot there for the public to say, okay, I'm going to give you $70 to watch this tonight. This card is so epic, I've got to watch it. When 303 International Fight Week, this is supposed to be one of the biggest cards of the year, and it simply isn't because Connor's not there.
Yeah, that's which again, and not to belabor the point because we've said it already, but International Fight League was going to be headlined by not even remotely a title fight, which is something they never like to do, but you can always supplement a title fight for, oh, look, Connor's here. And it's just such a, I'll tell you this right now, the Walsh Basement was supposed to be a lot more crowded tonight, Matt, than it is actually going to end up being due to the fact that I think people took vacations once they realized that all of a sudden they didn't have to be in attendance for a McGregor fight. We're going to keep Matt around. I want to get to the rest of this card, though, because we are at this point in the sports calendar when, hey, guess what happens when all of a sudden it's 9:30 and a big UFC pay-per-view is coming around? Oh, people are going to get involved in the fights. And if people are going to get involved, hopefully someone like Matt can help us make a couple of good decisions. We'll pick his brain on the baseball board as well. And again, we are live, Euro 2024, Italy, Switzerland has gotten underway, and we are on both teams to score. No, we'll continue to track with you right here on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
And 12. I know you're going to get Mafia excited here. Hot and bothered.
You got to put Aaron Rodgers here and the Jets at 11. I would put him higher, but again, he barely played football last season. They've addressed their offensive line. It's not going to be great. The depth at wide receiver is a problem for me. Defense, perhaps the best in the National Football League. If Rodgers plays 14 games, they're probably going to win that division over the Bills.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid. There is some eye-catching news that broke. Shams Charania has confirmed that LeBron has opted out of his player option, but that is just because LeBron's getting a new deal. Everybody knows that. Even in the report, Shams added the expectation is he will return to the Lakers. The second they drafted Bronny, Matt, that guaranteed LeBron would be back next year with the Lakers. I do think it's remarkable. You think about all the athletes that get paid contracts into this age of their career, and usually they're like, thank goodness I signed on for that deal. LeBron being able to opt out of $51 million and get more money, it is remarkable.
It is, and it's a tribute to him as a businessman, a tribute to him and his agent, as Rich Paul and him set this up perfectly. I just think it says a lot about the Lakers and this now era that they are in, that they're drafting LeBron's his son to make LeBron happy, to make LeBron re-sign, versus looking at the future, hiring a guy handpicked in JJ Redick that they know LeBron wanted. It's just all about LeBron in LA, and it just makes the difference and the distance between the Celtics and the Lakers that much greater. As a Celtics person, I'm here for it. Like, keep doing exactly what you were doing, Lakers, because you're keep putting yourself further and further away from number 18. So I'm good with it. But if I'm a Laker fan, I got to be asking, what are we doing?
I think you're thanking the guy who saved the franchise. Because Matt, I'm not going to struggle to get you to say bad things about the Lakers. They were the worst team for a half decade until LeBron showed up. They were atrocious. They were an embarrassment, right? I mean, they were. So then LeBron showed up.
True.
By his own decision.
So you're banking on one ring? So you're banking on just one championship, and then that's it? We're not going to go for the four, look ahead? And the one championship was a Mickey Mouse championship, literally in the bubble.
Yeah, now, and what we have learned from that, by the way, is that bubble is the most competitive championship that's happened since, and the fraudulent title was the one that happened the following season. They removed home court advantage from the team who would have had home court in the Western Conference. I know your Celtics, again, couldn't get the job done against the Heat. So all in all, it worked out just fine.
They didn't travel, Kev. They didn't travel. They stayed in one place. They didn't move anywhere. They stayed in one place. They played a shortened season with no fans.
Yeah, nobody was hurt. Everything was dead even across the bar. So the Lakers' advantage was what? Everybody had a level playing field.
No one went to you know how hard it is to play on the road in the postseason? It's impossible to win on the road in the postseason.
They had home court advantage in the West.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because
so
there's no home court for either side.
Home court.
Sure, but when you travel around for an entire season, you get banged up, you get tired, you have tired legs. You're an older team. They didn't have to go anywhere. They played in one place, and they played a shortened season on top of that. They didn't even play a full season. I mean, so that in the Dodger championship are the two most fraudulent championships we've ever seen. I'm 47. I've never seen a bigger fraudulent championship than those two rings.
The following year, right, the Final Four, right, we saw Milwaukee, Atlanta. Neither team has sniffed getting back to a conference finals, right? And on the other end of that, the Phoenix Suns and the LA Clippers, again, neither team sniffed getting back to the conference finals. The year after that, you want to know what the conference finals were, Matt? The same exact ones from the bubble. Denver and LA ran it back, and your Celtics and the Heat ran it back. It is the most credible title, if anything, in the history of the league. They all played on a level playing field. I apologize that there weren't different things to throw things off. They didn't play a full
season, Kev. They didn't get on airplanes every day. They didn't play back-to-backs. They didn't go on the road. They didn't do – how can you call that the most competitive –
So the Lakers would have lost because they didn't end up getting on –
No, we just have no idea what in a real season. That's not a real season. If they played a real season, we have no idea what would have happened in a real season where you actually play a full travel schedule, a full playoff schedule. You know, you're discounting travel entirely.
But what I'm saying to you is, right, that the travel was gone for everyone, right? So this wasn't some advantage for the Lakers. Everything
we don't know that. That's the point. We don't know what it would have been. That's the whole point. We don't know that it was even. We don't know that it was even. So, we don't know how big home court would have been. We don't. That's the point. It's the biggest X, the biggest unknown is the fact that nobody traveled and no one played in home court environments, which makes and they didn't play a full schedule.
The end result then was a completely level playing field.
Debatable. Shorter season.
How?
No travel. Older LeBron James. That's an older player who didn't have to move, who stayed in one place. That matters a ton when you talk about basketball minutes. Talk about having to get on airplanes and you fly up, your legs swell up, you go down. No air travel. It's a dramatic change. It's the biggest X factor. I'm not saying it benefited the Lakers more than somebody else. I'm just saying whoever won it The Dodgers the same way. Whoever won it. If you win a championship without travel, without a full season, that is not a real championship to me. That is a fraudulent championship because the biggest X factor is we don't know what would have happened if they played how they play normally.
I would, I mean, listen, and here's the thing, I don't really want to do all this, but the Celtics' entire Eastern Conference run involving 0 teams' best players staying healthy, right?
Sure.
Is far more to me than everyone
that's
playing
fine.
on an even
but that's
playing
fine.
field.
But they played a full season, and they were the best team in the whole year. They were the number one option. They were the lowest odds to win the championship the entire year. So the path doesn't really matter because they proved it in the regular season and the playoffs. What?
But so were the Lakers that
in
year.
The bubble?
They proved.
Yeah, but it's the bubble. But again, it's a full season versus not a full season.
Matt, they didn't
There's
play
with travel
4
without
games
travel
before the bubble, right? LeBron was the favorite to win league MVP before the league shut down.
But the league did shut down. That's the problem. The league did shut down. You can't take that out. You can argue all the points about playing. The league shut down. It went into a bubble. It went into a situation where the league did not have a normal season to basically judge anybody by. It's a complete X factor that will never be answered because of what happened in the pandemic.
It turns out if everyone plays on a level playing field and the team who had home court in the West was benefited the most. It's an interesting one, Matt. It's a very interesting one. We'll be right back.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
And 12. I know you're going to get Mafia excited here. Hot and bothered.
You got to put Aaron Rodgers here and the Jets at 11. I would put him higher, but again, he barely played football last season. They've addressed their offensive line. It's not going to be great. The depth at wide receiver is a problem for me. Defense, perhaps the best in the National Football League. If Rodgers plays 14 games, they're probably going to win that division over the Bills.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I genuinely have been wondering at what point the LeBron Celtics version of Matt and I's discussions would collide. So I am glad we finally got there. Me picking the Celtics to win the title, I think, avoided so much of this. Can I just, because the bubble stuff is what it is. The one thing, though, that I genuinely believe, Matt, is because there are people who share your opinion that catering to LeBron is bad for the Lakers. Mm-hmm. But the alternative is what? Like, because, again, what they used the 55th pick on irrelevant in the
Really?
grand scheme of it all.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Irrelevant. Why is that irrelevant? That's a player that could have helped you. LeBron James' son's not going to help you.
So I don't even, not even to like get into the credentials of Bronny.
There are none.
That's not true at all. Not true at all. McDonald's All-American. It's fine.
He's
it's fine. It's fine.
6'1".
It's fine.
He's a 6'1". He's a 6'1"
He's
guard.
6'1" without shoes. Did they start playing the game barefoot again? I don't know. Why.
Okay,
He's 6'1" without, it doesn't make a difference.
He's 6'2" with shoes on. I'm going to be impressed by this. Jason Tatum's 6'11". Like, what are we doing?
That's fine. He's not. I'm not. We're that's fine. We don't take kids to be Jason Tatum at 55, Matt. Can you name me who went 55th last year? Can you name me anybody that went in the 50s this year?
Do you believe he will be in the rotation? Let me ask you that question. Do you think Bronny James is going to play this year for the Lakers?
No.
So then why?
I don't
why
think he'll
pick
be
him?
in the rotation because I don't think any player you pick at 55 is going to be in the rotation.
But you know he's getting a contract, though, right? Second-round picks aren't guaranteed, but you know Bronny James is getting a contract, right? He's taking a roster spot this year from the Lakers.
I think that that's very possible. Also, last year's first-round pick, last year's first-round pick, Jalen Hood-Schifino, sat there the whole season, didn't contribute one thing. This Lakers season,
again, the chasm between the Lakers and other teams, how far behind they are because they can't draft either. So, yes, it's an indictment on the front office. Yes.
But again, like that's kind of the thing, right? So in order to smooth over all of the areas in which they get wrong, they desperately need LeBron and Clutch to fix things. Like, they have LeBron because of LeBron.
Kevin,
they have AD because of LeBron.
Listen to what you just said. Listen to what you just said. You need a player and the player's agency to fix a franchise. There's no other sport. Yes. There's no other team. That's embarrassing, Kevin. That's absolutely one of the most, that's the biggest indictment of Rob Pelinka and the Lakers ownership that you could ever come up with. That a player and a player's agent is to fix a franchise with 17 championships. That's insane to me.
But so I guess my point is, Matt, see, because this is the thing. I am not a Laker fan, right? This is a LeBron thing. So they were atrocious before LeBron got there, right? LeBron checked in, championship, Western Conference Finals, and now the idea is they should stop listening to LeBron. Like, no, they shouldn't. His
worked out well
decision
last 2 years.
making.
Okay, they look competitive the last 2 years.
They
in the play-in tournament. Wait. They've been phenomenal.
They went to the Western
Keep
Conference
LeBron.
Finals. They went to the Western Conference Finals within the last 2 years.
Correct. Yeah, and they lost. Lakers and Celtics don't judge things by Eastern and Western Conference Finals appearances. We have different bars.
Again, that the bars can be whatever you want them to be. That also means that the Celtics within the last 40 years have had 2 good years?
By our standards, correct. Yeah, championship years. Yeah, 2008 and this year in 2024. That's true. That's what we judge things on. I mean, why does Magic Johnson go public say it pisses me off that the Celtics have more titles than us? That's what this is. This is Lakers Celtics race in championships, not race in Eastern Conference Finals appearances, not wins in postseason. Look at you. I mean, that's like saying Tatum's record of how many playoff wins he has is something that people brag about. They don't. They still rip the guy. They rip him for being not clutch. But
no,
it
they
isn't.
literally
But
do
it's not,
tell me. I literally hear
bar.
how often from Celtics fans about how impressive Tatum's postseason resume is.
Not in Boston, I mean, Celtics fans want to know about wins, and they want championships, and he has one now. So all questions are done. There's no more questions about Brown, Tatum, done. Every argument, every criticism, every negative comment you can make about Tatum is over. It's done.
Yes. Tatum, who has accomplished at best as much as a Celtic as LeBron has as a Laker, yet we're questioning LeBron. Anything else on the UFC tonight?
Take Pajeda by knockout. Take Ian Gary by decision. Money, 2+ money bets for tonight if you guys want them tonight. And and Diego Lopez by moneyline victory tonight too.
Oh, there you go. All right, some great stuff there for Matt as always. We'll appreciate it. Coach is next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
And 12. I know you're going to get Mafia excited here. Hot and bothered.
You got to put Aaron Rodgers here and the Jets at 11. I would put him higher, but again, he barely played football last season. They've addressed their offensive line. It's not going to be great. The depth at wide receiver is a problem for me. Defense, perhaps the best in the National Football League. If Rodgers plays 14 games, they're probably going to win that division over the Bills.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
We're back here. It's Game Time Decisions, where in commercial I was told Dalton Connect is not a good fit with the Lakers, somehow more stunning than everything else I've heard. Coach is here, JY, and JY, we're not going to reopen any of that stuff, but it is nice to see you on a Saturday morning.
Oh, no. Real quick, I got to address this. I love Matt Brawl, but ever since the Celtics won the championship, all these Celtics fans, him, Pat Foster, been smoking the Chiba too much. Dalton Connect's not going to help the Lakers? Dalton Connect, who's got the best pure shooter in the draft? Dalton Connect, who can bang it from 25 feet out, hit you on a pull-up game, get to the rim, and can defend right now because he played for Rick Barnes? Is it going to help the Lakers? I mean, Matt's my guy. I love Matt. Part of it was during the commercial break. No one heard it, but I sat there stunned at some of the stuff that Matt said. Nothing was crazier than that. Dalton Connect, simply put, will help the Lakers from day one. Dalton Connect will get you about 12 points a game. He'll be one of the better three-point shooters. And he made the point that Matt drove me nuts is he said, you got a guy that can shoot the ball, and he doesn't help a guy who wants to drive it to the basket. That's the whole point why you got Dalton Connect. So I want to get knocked down threes at 40%. I'm sorry, kid. I got to drink some water. I'm losing it.
Yeah, I mean, the Connect stuff's odd. I don't know. It's probably just a Celtics-Lakers rivalry thing, a rivalry I don't care about at all. So, JY, LeBron opted out. I'll ask you this. Should LeBron consider leaving the Lakers, in your opinion?
For what? Where is he going? Orlando? I mean, who's going to pay him?
Sixers?
I mean, the Knicks, yeah, Tibbs will play him 54 minutes a night. So, I wouldn't go there. Sixers intriguing, but his roots are in L.A. I listen, are they ready to make a run? They need a lot of things to go right, Kevin, right? LeBron and AD have to play the amount of games they played last year, which was fantastic. They need Austin Reeves to continue to get better. They need Dalton Connect to step in. I don't know what they're doing with D'Angelo Russell. I think D'Angelo Russell opted in because he wasn't going to get that money anywhere else. So maybe they trade him. But to me, it's about if he stays. It's about Vincent being healthy. It's about Rui Hachimura being the Rui Hachimura that we saw in the playoffs 2 years ago, not the player we saw last year during the entire season. Can they be good? Yes. Also because J.J. Redick can't be worse than Darvin Ham. And they're going to surround J.J. with better coaches that's going to help him.
I am, man. I'm fascinated to see what kind of comes from this Lakers offseason, JY, because one of the fallouts from yesterday's DeJounte Murray trade, and there's so many layers to the whole trade, and of course we're going to talk about it. But just kind of this starting block here is this is a guy that was heavily linked to the Lakers. D'Lo opted in last night, which actually allows the Lakers to trade him. I think that's kind of on the board. Do you have any expectations right now for how the rest of this Lakers offseason is going to go? I think we're both expecting him to stay, of course, with the Lakers, but then what else will follow?
I think D'Lo's got to go. You have to. I think the warts of his game and the bad that comes out of it, it's kind of like you go to a restaurant. Like you tell one good person about a good restaurant, you tell 10 bad people about a bad restaurant. Like D'Lo has really good games, but his bad games are so bad, Kevin, that I just don't see him coming back. I think you use that $18 million and you use it in a trade similar to what Golden State is going to try to do with CP3. Use that money to facilitate bringing someone in. Who that someone is, who the hell knows? All I know is this. You know, Kevin, my man has off last night, and I get the trade, and I immediately blow up Kevin's phone like, bro, did you see this? And we didn't even know who was part of the package yet. And the first name I saw was Jackson Hayes. I'm like, damn, like the Lakers couldn't offer more than that? Kevin, I don't know if they wanted to send him to LA, because to me, I thought the package was underwhelming of what, New Orleans sent back to Atlanta. But I also think Atlanta could be a total complete clown show, to be honest with you.
Atlanta can't really afford to bottom out is the problem. So that's why I'm just wondering, is Trae Young going to remain truly available for the Hawks, JY? Because they might have to kind of keep him on that roster since they can't be terrible now. I do think the Lakers will make a phone call, because I think the thing, again, it just depends what you want if you're Atlanta. If it's about restocking assets, D'Angelo Russell is nowhere near as good as Trae Young, but he's a starting caliber point guard in the league. So I think that would be interesting. They could move DeAndre Hunter for a piece, clear way for Riza Shea to start. So here's the thing. Atlanta does not have incentive to be bad. It does not mean they won't be bad. It doesn't mean that they are going to push in to contend. They know contending isn't on the board. If you end up giving the 7th pick to San Antonio, while that would be unfortunate for you, it is what it is. You're in the situation you're in. So again, you're not trying to lose all of your games, but you still have to think long term now if you are the Hawks.
But Kevin, if you think about it, in a bad East, right? Let's go through it really quick. Should they be better than the Wizards? Yes. Hornets? Yes. Raptors? Yes. Nets? Yes. Bulls probably tear it down. So they still should be competitive enough in a bad East where they should approach trying to make the play-in. Now I'm going to say this. You were going through the guys, and I just thought about this. I think DeAndre Hunter would be perfect for the Lakers. I think he's maybe not as good of a defender as Jared Vanderbilt, but he ain't far off of it. It's damn close. And he's far better offensively, right? You look at him versus Rui Hachimura. I think he's better than Rui, right? Because he can defend, he can do more, and I just don't trust Rui. I wonder if that's the guy, if you're the Lakers, you target. A 3-and-D guy, ready, who can stretch the floor. And he's big enough, Kev, at 6'9", that I think you could play him at the 4 and move AD to the 5. I know AD doesn't want to be the 5, but to me, their best lineup is with him at the 5. I would call Atlanta. You may not get Trey because I think they need to keep him because you're right. With the 3 years of either pick swaps or picks going to San Antonio, they have to try and be somewhat competitive, right? But I think DeAndre Hunter is the guy they want to move because of his contract. I would be intrigued on him with someone like the Lakers.
I don't know what he costs. I think kind of just it's very hard to gauge, JY. I totally understand the breakdown. Tell me quickly here, for New Orleans, how do you feel about them adding DeJounte Murray to this roster?
Love it. A team that couldn't come back on anyone. A guy that's a defensive dynamo at the point of attack as a point guard. You allowed CJ McCollum to go to his 2-guard spot where, remember, his best years at Portland was playing next to Dame. That's fine. And then you have those two in the backcourt. You and I talked about it last night. Who starts between Trey Murphy III and Herb Jones is so intriguing because we both are huge Trey Murphy guys, but I don't think Trey Murphy's a 2. The interesting thing is this. If I'm New Orleans, I call Cleveland. I go BI for Jared Allen. Plug him in at the center position.
So I think that this is a team that is definitely going to look to trade Brandon Ingram, and that type of move makes it very difficult to evaluate the state of that roster. We'll talk WNBA next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
And 12. I know you're going to get Mafia excited here. Hot and bothered.
You got to put Aaron Rodgers here and the Jets at 11. I would put him higher, but again, he barely played football last season. They've addressed their offensive line. It's not going to be great. The depth at wide receiver is a problem for me. Defense, perhaps the best in the National Football League. If Rodgers plays 14 games, they're probably going to win that division over the Bills.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Back here on SportsGrid, look, a little more update on the LeBron opt-out from Chris Haynes, saying that he is considering opening up a pathway for the team to obtain the full mid-level exception. What that basically means is LeBron's just going to take maybe a little bit less to open up some money to make this roster better, which I think at this point in his career is fair. He's not worth less. It's just he can certainly afford to take less. The vet min would be a disgrace. He shouldn't be allowed to do that. He's not going to do that. But opening things up a little bit that is good. I think tomorrow, just kind of reading the tea leaves, we'll get a lot more Laker news. I won't be here, though. As I said, Joe Ranier will handle game time decisions, but you are with Coach James Young and Scott Farrell on BATR all weekend. JY, let's talk W. Knock it off.
Wait. You're killing me,
What?
Smalls. You're killing me.
On JY. JY, do you know why I'm not here tomorrow?
AEW.
Pay-per-view, baby. Out Long Island. See you there, Coach. See you there,
What
Coach.
the Kenny Omega's going on here?
Bang. All right, talk to me. Mystics Aces. I mean, this Aja Wilson price, minus 550. She's running away with it, apparently.
Listen, there's so many different ways you can go with this game. To me, I just think they're a completely different team now that Chelsea Gray is back. And I think the point guard makes him so much better, Kevin. So to me, I absolutely love the Vegas Aces minus the points of 12.5. I know it's a big number. I know Washington is playing somewhat better, but it's also an indictment of, their last game they played. I think they almost beat Connecticut. So to me, it's more of an indictment of like, what's going on with Connecticut right now? Because they're kind of looking like a hot mess. But I think I'll give the points, and I'll go minus 12.5. I'm also going to go with Jackie Young over points prop of 18.5. Simply put, now that their team is whole, you know this, Kevin, because you actually watch basketball and you do watch the W. It allows Jackie Young to go to where she naturally plays. I'm throwing out the 8-point performance versus Connecticut. But look at the other games since the point guard has been back. 32 and 22, right, versus Seattle and Chicago. This team in Washington has no stoppers of the ball. Natasha Cloud left in free agency. Victory. I love Jackie Young to go over 18.5 points because, simply put, point guard is back. She slides to the 2 where she can be effective and score.
Quickly, I want to expand on that. Just one thing. Switzerland did score against Italy, which is not good for the bet because now we need Italy to be held goalless. Now, it's on the board. Their attack has not been good. They don't have a single shot on goal. They've only put up a shot so far. But just to give people an update there. Now, I want to hit on something that JY just said. And I want to just make sure I add a qualifier because I know I've brought this up quite a bit. I think Aja Wilson is very clearly the best player in the WNBA. I think she is already one of the 10 best players in the history of the league. And I wanted to bet her to win league MVP before the year started, but could not get to the price. But that final piece is something that has remained incredibly true at every single point in this season. They have now won 3 in a row, and the result is Aja Wilson's number has checked in at minus 550. But I will once again remind people that Aja last year was left off a ballot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Chelsea Gray was basically the person who stole the vote. I am not telling you that Chelsea Gray is more valuable than Aja. I am telling you what happened last year with the vote. So, 3-game win streak, Aja, huge number. You know what happened 3 games ago? Chelsea Gray came back. She's averaging 4, 4, and 4. I'm not telling you she's winning MVP. I am not sure if this current market has a good temperature on what voters are going to do. I don't know, JY, if you have a temperature on what voters will do. Again, Aja is having a brilliant, all-time great season. I don't have minus 550 confidence that they will give her this award.
I think they will, because if you look at it, look at the competition, right? Stewie has been good, not as good as last year, but the reason why her numbers are down is because Inescu's been better and more consistent. So is Double J. Collier, not a sexy enough pick. Alyssa Thomas doesn't score well enough. Think about this. Like, if you look at right now on FanDuel, right? Asia Wilson minus 550. Then Nafisha Collier 18-1 time with Alyssa Thomas. Then you have 3 Liberty girls at 40-1 and 60-1. Kevin, those 3 are going to cancel each other out right then and there. So now it's Thomas, who doesn't score enough, who has now struggled, and the team, now they're playing better competition, has come back to the pack. Nafisha Collier had some rough scoring games as of late. Asia Wilson, whether the point guard is there or not, Kevin, she's putting up numbers. Kevin, this is over. She's going to win MVP. I don't know if this thing goes south of minus 400 at all, unless there is an injury that takes her out for a couple of weeks.
All right, so I think Coach actually hit on something that I actually really appreciate. I think he unlocked something in my mind. There is never going to be a great number on Aja. I think I've really been trying to say, I'm being very, very genuine. I think Coach just unlocked something for me. At no point have I seen anything that has made me confident they will vote for Aja. That's all I'm saying. The number isn't dropping. JY could not be more correct. The number didn't drop during the losing streak. It stayed, if not grew stronger. But due to last year's vote, I'm just saying, if you're someone who's willing to lay juice, I'd be very careful with this number. And if you want to just pepper long shots, you always could. People's parlays are next. We'll get JY out of here as well in a moment.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York team has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
And 12. I know you're going to get Mafia excited here. Hot and bothered.
You got to put Aaron Rodgers here and the Jets at 11. I would put him higher, but again, he barely played football last season. They've addressed their offensive line. It's not going to be great. The depth at wide receiver is a problem for me. Defense, perhaps the best in the National Football League. If Rodgers plays 14 games, they're probably going to win that division over the Bills.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, Game Time Decisions. I know JY's got to get to BATR, but I also know JY likes a good time. So I do want him here, and then we'll ask him about Wings, the Wings game before we get out of here. So JY, because I'm a man of the people, I kind of encouraged our crew to get some parlays together so then we can kind of send them out to the folks. So I'm going to give you the parlays. I'm going to give you the if people want to associate these with names, you can as well. Batting leadoff for the parlay, our guy Kofsky. Simple one, yet pays big. Plus 2250 Marcelo Zuna, Gunnar Henderson, home run parlay. Not mad at that. Not mad at that. The next one's a 4-leg banger. Comes from AJ on the 1s and 2s. Andrew Vaughn and Rafael Devers, each for 2+ bases. Framber Valdez under the 5.5 Ks. Glasnow over the 7.5 Ks. That's plus 1190. Our craziest by far, paying out around plus 360, comes
Sam
from
Yarnell.
Mr. Washington National, Sam Yarnell.
Of course.
Germany to qualify under 4.5 first 5 Royals Guardians. Aaron Judge for a hit and Kelsey Plum over 17.5, which is the shortest leg of the bunch. But again, you're still flirting with 4-1. And then closing it out, unsurprisingly, Pat Foster, a plus 37.57 here. Under 174.5 Aces Mystics. Gene Silva money line for the UFC betting crowd. Louis Robert for a ding-dong home run, and Brandon Nimmo for 2+ bases. There are some outrageous parlays for the people. JY, if they wanted to add a leg from Storm Wings, what would they add?
Oh my God, I'm just trying to look at all these parlays and see which ones of those that I like, because by the way, that Henderson Ozuna one, JY's in the mix. I am so in the mix with that one. I'm going to go with Seattle minus the points today. I'm going to just simply put they're going to win. They should win by double digits. Seattle will get it done tonight. That is my play on the card. And I may go with Megaber, the center, for a double-double. That's plus money, plus 145 on FanDuel.
Hey, any thoughts on that Angel Reese double-double streak, by the way?
I was stunned that she got it against Vegas, but now you're starting to look at it. 11+ games minus 105. That looks mighty, mighty tempting for her to get 2 more double-doubles coming up. If you look at the schedule, she's going to get the playing time. For us, it's always about, could she finish around the basket more than anything? Next game they will play will be versus the Lynx. She should be able to go to, it'll be close. The next game after that, I think, is on Tuesday versus the Dream. They're terrible. She should get the next 2, minus 105. A little bit scary, though, versus the Lynx tomorrow, though.
I want to say this. For the first time, and the win over the Fever is a main reason for this, but the 18-11 against Vegas helped. I think she actually can win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Because Caitlin Clark's numbers are still going to be so solid, and she's this huge favorite. I'm not running to bet Reese. I should have just played the 30-1. She never should have had longer odds than Cameron Brink. There is one thing, though, I want to throw out to people. Maybe they'll talk about this on BATR. By the way, Coach, we appreciate it. I know you got to get set up to rock it over there. Great stuff as always from Coach. Always a blast there, JY. Good stuff, and good luck with the show today. Listen to me with this quickly, though, with Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark went first overall. We all knew that was going to happen. Angel Reese went 7th. And it wasn't a surprise. We just came off the NBA draft, right? Dalton Knecht going 17 was a big surprise. Even Matas Buzelis falling out of the top 10 was a surprise. But slides happen. Angel Reese wasn't not someone who slid. She went where she was projected through mock drafts and odds. Her going 7th was the projected outcome. The Sky, her own team, had the 3rd pick and took someone else in Camila Cardoza. And I'm not slighting Camila. It's not a slight to any of them. It's Angel Reese has obviously been one of the 2 best rookies in this class. And if I did a redraft 2 months after the draft happened, right? 3 months? Does Angel Reese go 2nd to the Sparks? Did everybody mess this up? And it's not obvious that quickly. There's just something to think about there. Under in the Germany game later. Hopefully Italy does not score against Switzerland. We'll see you on Monday.